to the most unprofessional sports channel on YouTube. Welcome back to Swivel Chair Sports. I'm your host, Zach Circleberg Burkle, here with the coast today, Aaron and Joe. Go say hi, guys.
Hi.
All right, in this video, we'll be doing another edition of our weekly NFL predictions. This time going over week 6 of the NFL regular season. If you haven't seen any of our previous videos, we'll be going through each game, making our predictions for who we think's going to win, who we think's going to lose, why we think that team's going to win or lose, and at the end of the year, we'll add up all our totals, and we have a whole standings thing that you'll see right here in a second. So as of right now, prediction standings for Swivel Chair Sports. Last week, a little bit of a rough week for the boys. Me and Aaron both went 7-7, while Joe went 6-8. That brings the current regular season standings to me at first place still with a 34-28 record. Aaron still only one game behind at 33-29, and then Joe taking a little bit of a hit, dropping back down to 2 games back at 32-30. So we'll keep updating that as we go throughout the regular season. Once again, that does not include week 1 because we were too stupid to release a video at that point.
If you like our content, be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment. Let us know what you think.
So starting off with our weekly NFL predictions, we got Thursday Night Football, NFC West matchup between the San Francisco 49ers and Seattle Seahawks. The Niners have looked weird this season. Even without Christian McCaffrey, that offense has had some hiccups here and there. It's looked great here and there at other times. Main issue is they just cannot hold on to double-digit leads late in games. I believe 2 of their 3 losses were the opponent coming back from 10-plus in the fourth quarter in the Rams, and this past week to the Cardinals. Ironically, they're 2 division opponents that they've played so far this year, so could be some foreshadowing for this matchup, perhaps. I don't know. The other loss the Niners have, obviously, to the mighty Minnesota Vikings, who we all were surprised that they were this good, but could be legit. As for the Seahawks, they've also looked pretty strange. At times, their offense looks outstanding. And then this past week, they struggled to score 20 against the Giants. So not really sure what to think of the Seahawks team. Defense also let up 20. Well, I guess they didn't let up 29 points. Defense let up 23 points and then a block kick at the end against New York. But a really tough one to figure out here. I think because it's at home with Seattle, me and Joe had kind of talked about this earlier. I think the 12th man is going to provide a little bit of an extra boost. And similar to the last 2 division games, I bet you the Niners get up by 10-plus points in the fourth quarter, and then the Seahawks come back to win at the end. So give me Seattle in a little bit of an upset, despite the record being, better.
Yeah, I mean, Seattle's sort of had, kind of like you said, an up and down year, especially on defense. That defense has really struggled at times against the Lions, kind of like against the Giants last week. San Francisco hasn't looked, as dominant as everybody would have expected them to. Granted, they do have a lot of injuries. I think Christian McCaffrey, this is his first week being available, if I'm not mistaken, but that's no guarantee that he's going to play. I think I'm going to go with San Fran on this one. I just don't know about that Seattle defense. It really worries me.
That's fair.
My reasons are the same as Burks because we had talked about it. Seattle at home. Niners haven't won a road game yet, so give Seattle.
Yeah, and you said the Seattle defense has been concerning, which I think is totally fair. Somehow the Rams and the Cardinals both were able to keep this Niners offense from hurting them too bad. So I think it could end up being a similar story here. Next, we got our London matchup of the week with Jacksonville taking on the Chicago Bears. Bears are the home team, despite this basically being Jacksonville's home away from home, with them playing at least one game in London, I think, every year since they started doing that. Obviously, Jacksonville coming off a pretty tough win against the Colts. Trevor Lawrence with by far his best game of the season. Brian Thomas, potential breakout game for him, as he's already looked great before that game, but this one, he just kind of was on a different level with that 85-yard touchdown reception. Bears also kind of firing on all cylinders right now. Caleb Williams has seemingly gotten better each and every week this season, kind of getting back into that Rookie of the Year conversation to an extent, even though Jaden Daniels has seemingly ran away with it for the time being. But that Bears defense is legit. That Jacksonville defense is absolutely not good. So I think it's probably going to come down to that at the end of the day, and I just trust the Bears defense a whole lot more than I trust Jacksonville's. So that, along with Caleb Williams, kind of, I do think there's going to be a little bit of a uneasiness there for Caleb. First game across the pond could present some obstacles that he's not used to, some problems he's not seen yet. But I think that defense is just too good. And the Jacksonville Jaguars offense has been very, very, very inconsistent. So it'll be tough to see them be able to keep up and score a lot against this Bears team. So give me Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, especially with it being a London game, it feels like teams and players have difficulty adjusting to the time switch and going over there. So it's not like they've historically had the most exciting games over there in London. But I think I'm kind of with you there. I haven't really been super impressed with Trevor Lawrence this year. Sure, he had a great game last week, but it's not like the Colts have a super stellar defense. So he hasn't looked very good so far this year, and I think I'll bet on that Bears defense to hold firm there over in London.
I'm going Bears. Y'all said it all.
Next, we have the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Green Bay Packers. A game that could get a little interesting. Cardinals' offense has been pretty lethal this season, but the Packers' defense has been, I think, a lot better than some people expected. Specifically, Xavier McKinney potentially putting himself in conversations for Defensive Player of the Year with the way he's able to be a ball hawk out there with 5 picks through 5 games. Jordan Love seems to have settled back down. Kind of saw that at the end of the Vikings game a couple weeks ago as he got more comfortable, got his legs back underneath him a little bit. Saw it again last week as they pick up the win. I do think that this Packers team is going to continue to get better. Cardinals, I'm just not sure about. That defense really concerns me, and I think the Packers have way too many playmakers for them to be able to keep the Packers from scoring on them. And the Cardinals, despite that offense being, kind of a powerhouse at sometimes, not all the time. Kyler Murray did just get a partnership with Call of Duty. That could be a bad sign. Anytime Call of Duty
is.
Yeah, anytime Call of Duty and Kyler Murray are in the same conversation, you can expect his play to drop. So I think this is probably going to be the first week of that, unfortunately, for that Cardinals offense, and the Packers should win this one.
Yeah, I think I've got the Packers as well. I think the key to this game is keeping Kyler contained. You saw San Fran had some troubles with that last week. He had multiple big break-off runs there. But I kind of agree with you. I think there are probably just a few too many weapons there for Green Bay to exploit this Cardinals defense. So I'll take Green Bay as well.
Well, I can't afford to keep falling too many games behind you guys, so I'm just gonna pick what you guys got and go Packers.
Hey, I feel like they always do something. I can't really recall if they win or lose when we all pick them or not. So next we got the Colts taking on the Titans in an AFC South matchup to determine who's the worst team in the AFC outside of New England and maybe Cleveland and possibly Jacksonville. Well, okay, that's another AFC South team too.
Las Vegas.
AFC and Las Vegas. A lot of bad teams in the AFC right now, okay? These two are quite possibly two of them. The Titans are definitely one of them. Colts, not really sure. I don't know. The Colts, with Anthony Richardson, are inconsistent. With Joe Flacco, they have a very low ceiling. Titans are just an enigma because Will Levis can play as good as he can and he'll still somehow make a stupid, boneheaded mistake that costs them the game towards the end. The defense is great. So I could see especially if Anthony Richardson is starting, the Colts having some problems with that Tennessee defense. But unless Tennessee can get the run game going, I really see them struggling to score points despite it being against a bad Colts defense. However, I think coming off the bye, Will Levis, getting a little bit of his demons behind him with Jordan Love taking center stage of the stupidest play of the week this past week. I think I'm going to go Titans here, pick up their second straight win, I believe, and kind of take that step ahead of Indianapolis as far as mediocrity in the AFC South is concerned. So, go Will Levis.
I think Will Levis reclaims that mantle of making the stupidest play of the week, and I'm going to go with Indy. I would think Joe Flacco starts again. I don't know that Anthony Richardson will be healthy enough for this game. I won't throw that caveat in again because I think they'll win regardless. I just think that Tennessee offense is so bad. I just don't have any faith in Will Levis to be able to. This should be a close game, and I don't have any faith in him to go out there and win a close game. So give me an Indy.
I'm gonna go with Indy. They scored 34 points last week. I do not think that the Titans can score 34 points.
I don't think the Titans will let
30.
up 34 points though either.
Exactly, that's the thing. I think they can do that to a similar type of defense. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with the Colts. No caveat.
Yeah, I don't know. That Colts defense is so bad. I just hope Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears can get going, and if they can get going, then maybe that puts Will Levis in a good position. So, a little bit of a biased pick too, because I just really want Will Levis to succeed to some extent. Next, we got the Houston Texans taking on the New England Patriots in a very one-sided affair, at least from the outside looking in. With the Texans starting off 4-1, while the Patriots have an inverse of that at 1-4. And the Patriots have just looked like the worst team in the AFC, quite possibly. However, Drake May is starting, could provide a spark to that New England team, specifically on the offensive side of the ball where they've been so bad, because that defense hasn't been too bad. The defense has been pretty solid, just the offense can't score any points. Unless it's the Cincinnati Bengals, who might have the 32nd best defense in the league. So, with that being said, I just don't see how they're going to be able to keep up with the Texans on offense. I don't think the Patriots' defense is quite good enough to keep the Texans from being the Texans. And the Texans haven't really looked like the Texans this year, but I think this week that they could get back to that level of play. Stephon Diggs kind of has the whole Bills exit thing off his shoulder now after they just beat the Bills down last week. He should be playing at a high level. Nico Collins, currently leading the league in receiving yards, I believe, should continue to play at a high level. You still got Tank Dell, obviously, and CJ Stroud just seemingly has gotten back to form since they had that tough loss a few weeks ago against Minnesota. So give me Houston. Probably won't be close.
I'll take Houston. I think it's a tough spot for New England. Starting Drake May in his first start. I wouldn't say that I would say this is a blowout just because New England has such a good defense and Houston has struggled a little bit more than everybody probably expected so far this season, especially on the offensive side of the ball. But I would expect them to win fairly handily, fairly easily.
They should be in control all game.
Yeah. Run game's probably the tough spot for them.
Is Mixon out?
Injuries just have been
Is Mixon out?
There, a lot of people are thinking he'll probably be back this week. Him or Dameon Pierce. I think a lot of people are expecting one of them.
Dameon Pierce is questionable. Joe Mixon is also questionable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be a big
Pierce is
factor.
a hamstring. I feel like Mixon will be more likely.
So yeah, if they can get one of their top two running backs back, great. If not, I think they'll once again lean heavily on the pass game, and either way shouldn't be too much of a bother. give me Houston.
Keep an eye on that Christian Gonzalez versus Stephon Diggs. Keep an eye on that matchup.
Or versus Tank Dell, really anybody.
Really, anyway, just keep an eye on Christian Gonzalez because this is going to say a lot about him depending on what guy he's on. But yeah, go Texans.
A lot of it's probably going to come down to as long as the Texans can keep C.J. Stroud upright, then I don't really see them having much problem. That's going to be the one area where New England can maybe cause some issues. So. Next, we got Tampa Bay taking on the New Orleans Saints in a NFC South matchup where could end up being very consequential for the eventual division title holder at the end of the season. Obviously, the Bucs coming off a loss to the Falcons. Saints just lost to the Falcons, I think, 2 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. So both of them are kind of on the outside looking in as far as the 1 seed goes. If everyone finishes with the same record, this could be a very, very important game when it comes to figuring out tiebreakers for possible wild card matchups even. So, yeah, I mean, I think these two teams are fairly evenly matched. Unfortunately, with Derek Carr being out, I just don't know how the Saints are going to be able to keep up with that Tampa Bay offense. I don't think the Saints' defense is particularly great. I mean, the Chiefs finally had some sense of life on that side of the ball this past week for the first time all year. So with the Bucs being able to do what they can do on the offensive side of the football, I just don't think the Saints are going to be able to keep up without Derek Carr. Maybe Spencer Rattler comes in and really, really lights a fire under that offense, but I don't see that happening. So with all that being said, give me Tampa Bay. I just don't know what the Saints are going to do without Derek Carr.
Yeah, I think they're in a real bind without Derek Carr. This has all the writings of a dominant Tampa Bay win. New Orleans has struggled at times on offense with Derek Carr, so I don't think it bodes very well, especially if you're probably expecting a very run-heavy game from them with a backup quarterback. Give me Tampa Bay all day.
Unless they let Taysom Hill go out there and throw a quarterback. Even then, yeah, let's go with Tampa. Come on, Tampa. Don't lose because I picked you.
Is that every week so far that you've picked for them or against them and they do the opposite? Eesh.
Yep.
Next we got the Cleveland Browns taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Couple teams that have not lived up to the expectations their fan bases had set out for them before the year. Deshaun Watson has looked like dog shit over there in the dog pound. And Jalen Hurts has kind of struggled there in Philadelphia, specifically with the turnovers in crucial situations this season. So against the Cleveland Browns defense, that could come back to haunt them in this game. However, I don't think I can ever confidently pick Deshaun Watson against any other NFL team the rest of the season. So I'm going to go Philadelphia Eagles because I just think that Cleveland Browns offense is that fucking bad. Even against an offense, or even against a secondary that they should be able to exploit in the Philadelphia Eagles, Deshaun Watson, I promise you, will still finish with less than 200 yards and more interceptions than touchdowns.
Yeah, Philadelphia may get all three of their sort of biggest names that have missed the last couple games. Devontae Smith, Lane Johnson, and A.J. Brown all questionable to play this game. So maybe one, maybe none, maybe all three come back. Regardless, I'm taking Philly here. I just think that they sort of run the ball down Cleveland's throat.
Yeah.
Here, I don't think Cleveland has any shot at keeping up on offense. So give me Philly.
Give me Philly.
Next, we got a really fun matchup between almost like the Spider-Man meet. Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson going at it against each other on what you would think would be a primetime game and is instead played at noon. So, sorry to all you churchgoers out there on the West Coast. But noon Central, I should specify. Yeah, I mean, the Commanders have looked amazing. The offense, one of the best in the league. Jaden Daniels put himself as dark horse candidate for MVP, running away with the Rookie of the Year right now. Best dual threat quarterback we've probably seen in his rookie season since Lamar Jackson a few years ago. Lamar, on the other hand, him and Derrick Henry have kind of started gelling perfectly together. That running attack on the offensive side of the football for Baltimore is lethal, as we all expected it to be. Still a little bit of questions on the defensive side of the football, I feel like, for the Ravens, where we're just not sure what to make of them, I feel like, because they'll do really, really well against really bad offenses, but they seem to struggle against the good ones. And, yeah, I mean, it could end up coming back to bite them in this one, with Washington being able to put up the points that they're able to put up. However, I think I'm going to lean on the experience here and go with Baltimore. It's at home, I believe, for the Ravens, so they have that slight advantage. It's not much of a drive for Washington. I mean, it's just like maybe a couple 100 miles up the coast. But yeah, I think experience should play out, should win out here. Commanders probably riding a little bit too high on their own supply, even. Being 4-1 at this point, I don't think many people expected them to be that. So maybe go into this game taking it a little bit too lightly, a little bit too, I guess, on their high horse. I don't know. But yeah, I think the Ravens should end up winning this one. But it should be a really fun, close game, I hope.
Yeah, this really hurts me to say, but I think I'm going to take Baltimore as well. I think this is by far the best defense that Jaden Daniels and this Commanders offense has faced so far this year. And it's really going to put his paces. We're really going to see kind of just how advanced he is as a rookie. So this will definitely be a fun game to watch. But I just think that Washington defense is just going to have too many holes. I think Lamar and Derrick Henry are going to run circles all around that defense and really cause problems. So give me Baltimore.
Baltimore. I really want to pick Washington. I really do. But I just, all the points you guys make, it's hard to pick against.
Next, we got the Los Angeles Chargers taking on the Denver Broncos in an AFC West matchup that could determine who the second best team in the division is. Chargers coming off a bye, but have looked pretty solid at times this year. One of their two losses is to the Chiefs, so there's not much shame in that. Defense has been one of the best units in the league on that side of the football. I believe top 5, if I'm not mistaken, in points allowed and yards allowed, maybe. Denver, also, great defense on that side. And Bo Nix seems to be figuring it out on the offensive side of the football. So, could be a really good, low-scoring, hard-nosed football game here between two teams that came in with some probably pretty low expectations and are maybe being a little bit, being maybe a little bit surpassed at this point. I know the Chargers fans were pretty hyped coming in with Harbaugh being named head coach and all, but in my opinion, they're looking better than I thought they would look. Broncos looking way better than I thought they would look. So credit to both teams. I think with it being played at Mile High, though, I can't believe I'm saying. I think I got the Broncos winning this game and getting to 4-2 on the season and kind of taking charge of that second place spot in the division. So give me Denver.
I think I'm going to take the Chargers in this one. I'll take the experience in Herbert, and I think I like some of the things I'm seeing out of that offense. Johnston's looking good, a lot better than I think a lot of people would have expected him to with the season he had last year. And they've had a dominant run game, so I think I've got a little more faith in the veteran quarterback and a lot of veteran players on that defense for the Chargers. So I'll take the Chargers.
All right, here we go. Finally picking something different. Yeah, this one's tough. I wish I had the Chargers injury report, like knew who was playing, but I'm gonna ride with the Chargers. you guys both make good points. I agree with like both of your guys' reasonings for it, but I'm gonna go for, outside being a Steelers fan, go for the home team. So the
Yeah.
Chargers.
So a lot of my reasoning for picking the Broncos is I think the Chargers defense is a little overrated. I think have the benefit of playing some bad teams early in the season, like the Panthers, for instance. The Broncos, their defense has looked really good against some good quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers and who was another one? They just played someone not too long ago too that I'm blanking on right now.
Well, that Jets organization is a dumpster fire, so I wouldn't necessarily. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is a good quarterback.
Baker. Like this year, Baker's been a good quarterback.
They're not a lethal offense by any means.
No, the Denver Broncos offense has looked really bad, but the defense they've held teams like the Buccaneers to well below what they've done throughout the season. Gave Aaron Rodgers some fits, so I would like to think that they would do the same against Herbert, and then, like I said, Bo Nix seems to be on a heater right now, so kind of hoping that just extends another week.
I like the Broncos pick, especially in Mile High.
Yeah.
Going with the good, just going with it.
Next, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. A game that feels like it's straight out of the 1970s here, when the two teams were kind of at their heyday. But, man, I mean, the Steelers' offense is really concerning to me, especially this past week against a Cowboys defense that was missing their two best edge rushers, two of the best edge rushers in the league at that. Raiders, on the other hand, is just a dumpster fire, so it's hard to pick them when they're going up against anybody. There are question marks around the quarterback position right now. Is Gardner Minshew starting? Is Aiden O'Connell starting? I don't have any faith in the Raiders at all, especially with that defense playing as bad as they could. If there was a team the Steelers were going to put 30 on, this would be it right here. So, yeah, I've got Pittsburgh coming away with this one. I just don't see the Raiders as a legitimate threat.
Anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take the Steelers. The loss of Christian Wilkins on the interior of that defensive line for Vegas really hurts. So they've struggled so far on offense this year, and Pittsburgh's got a really good defense. So I would look for a low scoring game from them. Yep. I'd probably expect maybe a step forward from this Pittsburgh offense. Maybe we see a little bit of Russell Wilson in this game. So give me the Steelers.
Who knows? But I'm picking the Steelers over the Raiders any day.
Yeah. Yep. Steelers win 12-6.
Be so mad if that's what happened.
15-4.
Two safeties, that's all they can muster. Next, we got the Detroit Lions taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys looked better at times last week, and also worse at times last week. They were able to just come away with the win on a pretty clutch catch by Jalen Tolbert, all things considered.
The Cowboys weren't good. The Steelers were just worse.
The Cowboys' defense was good enough to make a Steelers offense look worse than it has all year. Which, I mean, not much worse than it has all year, but worse.
I was going to say, it's about par.
And the Lions, coming off a bye after starting off 3-1, look like they could be right there amongst the top of the NFC for the second straight year. Kind of, in my opinion, kind of running away with the second seed. Well, not the second seed because they're in the same division as the one seed, who's the Vikings. But kind of running away with the second best team in the conference conversations in my eyes. I just don't think the Cowboys, especially if that defense is still hampered by injuries, is going to be able to stop this Lions offense from scoring points. And if the Lions offense scores points, I definitely don't think the Cowboys are going to be able to keep up with them because they haven't been able to do that all season. So I'm going to go Detroit here, assuming that, Micah Parsons is probably out this week, I would imagine. DeMarcus Lawrence might also be out. I just don't think that this Cowboys defense is going to be able to provide enough pressure on Jared Goff to bother him and knock him off his comfort level. So, give me Detroit.
Marcus Lawrence will not play because he's on IR.
Well, there you go.
And
Definitely
Mike
not
is
playing.
questionable.
Well, there you go. Maybe not both of them.
Yeah, I don't know why, but this feels like a Detroit ass whooping in the making. I don't know if it's all in my head, but this feels like a 14+ point Detroit just smack down
Yeah.
on Dallas. Just another one of those games where Dallas doesn't look very good. I mean, Detroit, good offense, good defense. So I think I'll roll with my gut here and take the Lions.
When it comes to with Micah Parsons or without and all that, that'd be a heck of a game to just watch because I'd put anybody against that Lions. Those tackles out there in Detroit, man, those dudes don't be the reason Jared Goff has the time he does to be able to do the things he can do. So,
yeah.
with that being said, give me the Lions too.
Next, we got an NFC
Like
South.
Micah Parsons and Penei Sewell would have been real fun to watch, though.
I was about to say, yeah, he'd probably be going up against Sewell a lot because he's the right tackle. But next, we got the Falcons taking on the Panthers in an NFC South matchup where I just don't think the Panthers stand a chance, to be honest, with the way the Falcons' offense looks at this time. Kirk Cousins might become the second quarterback since Matt Ryan to throw for 500 yards in a game. And that's because he was the first quarterback since Matt Ryan to throw 500 yards in a game this past week. So, might do that in back-to-back weeks against this Panthers defense. Bijan Robinson might also run for 200 yards against this Panthers defense because they'll be up by so much early. I don't see any way in hell that the Panthers win this game if the Falcons play to their level of potential. Darnell Mooney, Drake London, Kyle Pitts should have a field day. The Falcons should roll. So give me Atlanta.
Dalton's still starting, right?
I think so.
I bet this isn't a quarterback matchup that a lot of people had on their bingo card at the start of the
Kirk
season.
Cousins, Andy Dalton, baby.
Real kind of a throwback matchup here. Yeah, I'm with you. Give me Atlanta. That offense is just on an absolute tear. Kirk Cousins for MVP, if you ask me, so far this season. So give me Atlanta.
Yep, ATL for sure.
Man, if the Falcons can get healthy on that back end of the defense too, it'd be interesting to see how good that defense can be. Because I think they got the best safety duo in the at least up there as amongst the best safety duos in the league. Next, we got our Sunday Night Football matchup that everybody is clamoring to see: the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the New York Giants. Just a thoroughbred of franchises in the NFL, as we all know. And, I don't know, man. The Bengals should win this game. However, Daniel Jones is looking better as the year goes on. And this Bengals defense could easily give up 30 points to a Giants team that just scored 29 this past week against the Seattle Seahawks, who we've also been saying has a terrible defense. So if it's anything like last week, it could be a lot closer than it should be, similar to last week for the Giants. But I'd like to think that the Bengals can capitalize off the momentum they've built throughout these last 2 weeks. I know they lost this past week, but the offense has looked amazing. Jamar Chase has looked amazing. Joe Burrow's looked good. Really, really good at times, and then he just makes, a couple costly mistakes at the end of games. But outside of that, I mean, if the Bengals can make any sort of stop against this Giants team, they should win this game. So give me Cincinnati. Just one stop.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be the big question for the rest of the season. I mean, the Cincinnati offense seems to be finding its footing. It's whether this defense can get a stop to get that offense some breathing room to kind of seal out the game.
Just one.
And the Giants, both Neighbors and Singletary questionable, so might get Neighbors back. So that'd be a big get for them. But I think I'm with you. I think this Cincinnati offense is just going to be a little bit too much for the Giants to deal with.
I really don't want to pick Cincinnati like at all. I want to pick the Giants, but I went and looked, and they've scored over 30 points 3 straight games.
Yeah.
Still, just they've lost 2 of them, so I'm not confident that the Giants can score 30. They got 29 this past week on Seattle, but Seattle's defense ain't very good either. So, yeah, let's just go with Cincy.
Like I said, if there was a team the Giants could score 30 on, though, it might be this Bengals defense. It very well could.
Yeah.
Very might be.
That one's gonna get back at me. I really don't want to pick Cincinnati.
Yeah, that one I really could see going the other way. That's the one with the big one-sided pick that could go the other way. Finally, we have our Monday Night Football matchup where the newly head coached by their defensive coordinator and fired their head coach, Bob Saleh, Robert Saleh, whatever the fuck you want to call him. He doesn't matter anymore. He's not employed. The Jets, bad franchise. Bills, what the fuck these past 2 weeks. Really not sure what to think going into this game because the Jets defense hasn't been the problem, obviously. So if they can cause nightmares for Josh Allen, the Bills might be in trouble because that defense is dog shit over there in Buffalo at times. It's been really good at the start of the year. Then they started playing some decent teams. All of a sudden, they look bad. So I don't really know what to think about this game. I think simply because the Jets are just replaced their head coach after week 5. Probably going through a little bit of turmoil there in the locker room, I'd imagine, with dictator Aaron Rodgers at the helm. So I'm going to go Buffalo here in this game. And hopefully Josh Allen can get back on track. Assuming he's not concussed from that play in this past week that they refused to take him out of the game for. So give me Buffalo. And all their dysfunction over the Jets. Way more dysfunction.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about a franchise that is just in the muck. The Jets just can't seem to get out of their own way. I'm with you. I'll take Buffalo over a team that can't figure out who they want at their head coach, quarterback, and it's a mess over there. So I'll take Buffalo as well.
You don't think Aaron Rodgers just takes over, does it his way, makes it happen regardless?
Kim Jong Rodgers, you mean?
He's just going in there and calling everything he wants to call. Yeah, with that, let's go Buffalo. I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I just man, that Jets team isn't. They've got to be inflated. If they lose this game, it's just going to continue to unravel, and they probably will lose this game because it's Buffalo. I don't see any light at the end of the tunnel for this Aaron Rodgers-led Jets team. It's probably going to end in a really, really bad way, possibly this season. So.
But hey, they might get Devontae Adams.
Yeah, they might get Devontae. That is true.
They have one receiver away.
And it won't matter, I don't think.
Oh, no, they're not.
That's what they thought when they got Mike Williams, I thought, so. Oh.
And Aaron Rodgers.
Well, unless y'all got anything else, I think that'll do it for this episode of the most unprofessional sports channel on YouTube, Swivel Chair Sports. I've been your host, Zach Zuckerberg. Berkeley here with the coast today, Aaron and Joe. Go and say bye, guys.
Bye.
Alright, if you made it this far into the video, please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy our content. Make sure to keep coming back for more prediction videos every week as we update our channel standings amongst the three of us and make more predictions as the season goes on. And, most importantly, make sure to drop your own predictions down below in the comments section. And other than that, deuces. Have a good day.